Hi everyone, I'm Abhishek Asawa and I have with me Mukesh Bansal. Of course, he needs no introduction. So you meet so many of these, like let's say forward-looking companies or companies who are really ahead of the curve compared to others. What have you seen? What are the use cases you have seen which have really actually given value, like companies who have used agents to deliver actual business outcomes?
Yeah, one of the most significant use cases I've seen, which was not very obvious, is just two-way communication and insight collection from on-ground workforce. I'll give you an example from Cult. We have about 5,000 trainers and center managers. These people now come in contact with the customers every day. We have almost 150,000 daily footfall. So a lot of things happen on ground, which is very useful information. But historically, the communication from corporate to trainers and center managers will be email maybe once a week, some kind of survey on a monthly basis. So it's a very low fidelity channel. There are almost no real-time insights coming back from the field to corporate. If we want to roll out new initiative, for example, new sales campaign, training all the 5,000 people was very difficult. Now we are deploying these voice AI agents to enable continuous two-way conversation. The way it works is any given time, an AI agent can call on behalf of the company, have a conversation, generally inquire, how was the day? What did you observe? Anything interesting? How are people responding to this particular sales campaign? What are they liking? What are they not liking? You do those calls to hundreds or thousands of on-ground workforce, then automatically synthesize and develop a report which immediately marketing team can analyze, they can course correct, leadership team can see what is going on, and the other way around as well. Anybody from a center can call in to this voice AI agent and say, I have noticed this particular problem, or I've been waiting for this resolution for a while. And the AI agent can process the request, can trigger internal ticket for somebody to respond back to. And I think you extrapolate that to pretty much any field workforce. A lot of companies have hundreds of thousands of people, banks with lots of branches, delivery companies, whether it's taxi companies, they all have huge number of on-ground workforce, and the voice AI agents can enable huge amount of engagement. Others research. Again, most of companies, especially in the meetings, people are struggling for information. Maybe someone is presenting something on slides, but you may want to know yesterday's number or trend over last 3 months or last 3 years. It's not easy to pull all these things on demand, but by enabling AI agents to have the company's context, you can have the real-time conversation at any level of granularity or zoom out, which can make the overall meeting outcome significantly more effective.
Correct. And another thing, Mukesh, is that in India, the GCC business has been picking up. Like it has been a trend which has just grown exponentially, mostly on the people side of things. So how do you see AI agents disrupting this thing? So India has been a leader in kind of just providing, let's say, manpower, which is comparatively lower cost. So how can Indian companies use AI to become the GCC of the world at a much bigger scale?
I think GCCs are almost perfect use case for AI agent. By definition, GCC work tends to be very structured. The reason some of these large multinationals are able to set up these offices with thousands or even tens of thousands of employees is because the work that is to be done is highly templatized. It's very clear what the process is, depending upon the process, whether it's let's say claim settlement process or reconciliation process, or in the health context, it could be about generating invoices or submitting claims to the insurance company. These are all very specific workflows. The human agent need to go through step by step. Now, given the process is already defined, this is work that's done at scale. There are a lot of past data is available. I think these are quite amenable for AI agents to attack. I think this is one area which will see massive adoption. Now, it's not going to be one-shot transition from 100% human work to 100% AI work. Okay. There are degrees of complexity, and you can start with the simpler amount of work, which is automated, which AI agents can handle, and the next phase more complex and so on. But I think in next 3-4 years, one should anticipate that somewhere between 70 to 80% of all the work done in the GCCs can be done with AI. So humans can do much more value-added work, work that requires much deeper thought process. This can translate into both significant cost reduction for companies as well as expanding capabilities. They can process 5x, 10x more work leveraging AI agents.
Makes sense. And do you also kind of see the India advantage play out, given that India has vast amounts of like highly skilled people, and especially combining AI with that, can that really help like India leapfrog compared to where we are doing right now?
Yeah, I think India advantage in some ways because of the history, GCCs have been operating here for a long period of time, which means there's huge amount of data already available. Trained workforce is already available, which is a very important ingredient to be able to design, implement, deploy these AI agents. So I think that's advantage one. Second, as you said, a huge amount of English-speaking workforce. People are available at all levels of skill set. As AI agents starts to take on simpler work, the human workers will be required to take on more complex work. I think we have highly educated workforce. People are learning about AI at a breakneck speed. Number of AI certifications in last 2 years has gone through the roof. So combining both the agentic capabilities to be able to automate a lot of work and human capabilities to be able to fill in the gaps wherever the other higher level skills required, I think translate into a very good template for AI-first GCCs. I think we'll see a transition from human GCC to AI-first GCCs to eventually AI-only GCCs. The equivalent being in China now, there are a lot of these dark factories. They're not a single human being.
Correct.
I think when will we do GCC equivalent of that? And I think India is probably best positioned to do that. Yeah, dark factories in India may take much longer period of time, but I think we have started building this AI-only GCCs in the country.
So that can become the next growth engine for India potentially. Got it. Another thing to kind of explore, Mukesh, is when you look at some of these tech-first companies, there's always this question of should we build in-house versus should we do outside, especially some of the use cases and workflows that you pointed out. It's so specific to the company, you need to have deep understanding about it. So how should companies like companies in India, let's say, to start with, and broader global companies think about should we do it in-house versus should we partner with some other expert, let's say AI agent company, to build out some of these workflows? So what's your take on that?
Yeah, I think it's very simple. How many companies today build their own CRM or their own HRMS or their own ERP, right? None. And it's not like people have not tried. It's very easy to start with the very basic version, but sooner or later realize that you just cannot keep pace. Agents are somewhat deceptive. It's very easy for anyone to spin up a simple agent. You just go to GPT and say, pretend you are a accountant and process the invoice and it'll produce an output. You will be pretty impressed. But then as you start to double click, as you start to think about all the nuances, ensuring the agent is working for a variety of inputs, not making obvious mistakes, integrating with your systems, keeping pace with as the new models are coming up. New models not only come up with new capabilities, but new APIs, new guardrails and guidelines. A lot of other people are innovating. They're building all kind of this infra layer, which makes the agentic capability significantly better. So that last mile optimization, which is super critical. In business, people talk about 4-9 reliability, 6-9 reliability, 6 Sigma. Now, building a 6 Sigma AI agent is, anything but trivial, and that's where specialized companies have a huge advantage. I think most companies are already recognizing it, and the best way to look at Silicon Valley companies, they are obviously, no one can accuse them of not being tech savvy enough, but they also understand what their core capabilities are, and they are relying on other agenting companies to provide specialized software. Building agents also require very deep domain knowledge. Now, if a company is, let's say, going back to Cultfit, if fitness is your core business, your understanding of financial process is only going to be limited to what you know, but you will not be expert in financial services or legal services, or you don't run in-house recruitment services, because recruitment specific companies know that area really well. So I think good and mature companies knows that by outsourcing stuff, you get a lot of leverage on the dollars spent. Somebody else is accountable for getting the work done, and that hence we are seeing the emergence of a lot of these specialized agentic companies.